Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare, oh Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Nitya Gaura Haribo, Nitya Gaura Haribo. Gaura Premanande. Jayam Vishnupala Brahmansa Parivakacharya Stotra Stata Sishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupala Paramahansa Parivakacharya Stotra Stata Sishimad Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Iskcon Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Syadvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki Shri Vindam Dham ki Shri Mayapur Dham ki Ganga Maya ki Yamuna Maya ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulasi Devi ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitya Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Brahmanandi Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivacharya Sutara Shri Srimadi Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthapudale Srimati Tamal Krishna Goswami Namni. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthapudale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namni. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharya Visheshanyavati Paschyata Desatarini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayed Nasta Praishu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikir. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 9, Liberation, Chapter 15, Parasuram, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation, Text 25. Yeah. Okay, let's chant. Savai Ratnam tu tadritsva. Savai Ratnam tu tadritsva. Atmaishvaryati shayanam. Atmaishvaryati shayanam. Tannadriyatagnihotriyam. Tannadriyatagnihotriyam. Sabilasha sahaihahaya. Sabilasa Sahayahaya Savairatnam tu tadritsva Atmaishvaryatishayanam Tannadriyatagnihotriyam Sabilasa Sahayahaya. Savairatnam tu tadritsva Atmaishvaryatisayanam Tannadriyatagnihotriyam Sabilasa Sahayahaya. Savairatnam tu tadrisva Atmaishvaryatishayanam Tannadriyatagnihotriyam Sabilasa Sahayahaya. Ladies. Savairatnam tu tadritsva Atmaishvaryatishayanam Tannadriyatagnihotriyam Sabilasa Sahayahaya. Saha he Kartaviryarjuna by indeed Ratnam, a great source of wealth. To, indeed, that the Kamadhenu in the possession of Jamadagni, Dritsva, by observing, Atma Aishvarya, his own personal opulence, Atishayanam, which was exceeding, that, na, not, adriyata, appreciated very much, agnihotriyam, in that cow, which was useful for executing the Agnihotra sacrifice. Sa abhilasaha, became desirous. Sa haihayaha, with his own men, the haihayas. That's a tongue twister. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. You can read the translation with me. Kartaviryarjuna thought that Jamadagni was more powerful and wealthy than himself because of possessing a jewel in the form of the Kamadhenu. Therefore, he and his own men, the Haihayas, were not very much appreciative of Jamadagni's reception. On the contrary, they wanted to possess that Kamadhenu, which was useful for the execution of the Agnihotra sacrifice. You read the purport? You can read it.
Jamadagni was more powerful than Kartavir Arjuna because of performing the Agnihotra Yagya with clarified butter received from the Kamadhenu. Not everyone can be accepted to possess such a cow. Nonetheless, an ordinary man may possess an ordinary cow. given protection to this animal, take sufficient milk from it, and engage the milk to produce butter and ghee, especially for performing the Agnihotra Yagya. This is possible for everyone. Thus we find that in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advises Go Raksha, the protection of cows. This is essential because if cows are cared for properly, they will surely supply sufficient milk. We have practical experience in America that in our various Iskcon farms, we're giving proper protection to the cows and receiving more than enough milk. In other farms, the cows do not deliver as much milk as in our farms, because our farms know very well that we are not going to kill them. They are happy and they give ample milk. Therefore, this instruction given by Lord Krishna, Go Raksha, is extremely meaningful. The whole world must learn from Krishna how to live happily without scarcity simply by producing food, grains, anad bhavanti bhutani, and giving protection to the cows, Go Raksha. Shri Go Raksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. Those who belong to the third level of human society, namely the mercantile people, must keep land for producing food, grains, and giving protection to cows. This is the injunction of Bhagavad Gita. In the matter of protecting the cows, the meat eaters will protest. But in answer to them, we may say that since Krishna gives trees to cow protection, those who are inclined to eat meat may eat the flesh of unimportant animals like hogs, dogs, goats, and sheep. But they should not touch the life of the cows, for this is destructive to the spiritual advancement of human society.
Thank you. Omagyanityamirandasya jananjana shalaka chakshushanmilitamena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha mukam garati vachilam pangum langete girim yakripatamam vande Shri Gurum denataranam paramanandamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaran Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gododeya Pushpavanto Chitra Sandho Tamodato. There's two things, one is in the translation and the other aspect is the purport where Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on cow protection, Go Raksha. So there is this character, his name is Kartaviryarjuna, and there's another character, Jamadagni. Now the Haihayas and the Bargus are the Bhrigu dynasty. So they are the Brahmanas and the Haihayas are the Kshatriyas. But they are always fighting with each other. Just like when I was a little boy, there was a cartoon where the McDermotts and the McDougalls, they always are fighting with one another. So it's very interesting to see. This is in the Satya Yuga, and still they should know principles very well, but the Kshatriyas were not respecting the Brahmanas. So Jamadagni he has his ashram near the Narmada river, and Kartavirya Arjuna is one of the most powerful kings in the Haihaya dynasty. And so he comes with his men and they do some hunting and they become very tired. So then he approaches Jamadagni's ashram and Jamadagni says, no problem, I can take care of you, you just take your bath and come. So they refresh themselves and they come back. And when they come, it wasn't that long, and lo and behold, Jamadagni had a full feast, opulent feast. And Kartavirya Arjuna was, surprised because the ashram is just his wife, Renuka, and his 3 or 4 sons, and that's about it. And he was wondering, how is this possible? But one of his chief soldiers saw that Jamadagni had a very special cow, Kamadenu. Kamadenu means wish-fulfilling cow. So therefore, then he was thinking, well, I'm a king, I probably deserve the cow more than the Brahmana. So then he decided to come back and ask Jamadagni and ask him if he could give the cow Of course, Jamadagni said, no, the cow is not meant for what you are thinking, it's meant for the sacrifice purposes. And so he refused to give the cow. And so Kartavirya Arjuna left, but then he told his men, you go and get the cow. So his men came back, and this will be related later on. They came back, and there are different, in different Puranas they have different stories. In one they kill him, Jamadagni. In the other, in here they kill him later. So anyway, they beat him up really bad, and they take the Kamadhenu and leave. And later on, Parasuram comes back, and there's a sage known as Sukra, and he helps with the bringing back of the Kamadhenu cow. And over here you can see there is enmity between them. And here Kartavirya Arjuna was thinking that he's a Kshatriya and therefore he deserves it. It's also like in the like in many stories you see two good friends and one friend gets something, the other guy is thinking, I actually deserve it, but I'm not getting it. And so they come up with different types of plans to get it. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's an object in this case, it's an animal. So it could be anything. It could be a diamond, it could be a jewel, it could be a ring, the one ring, or it could be, in this case, a woman, a wife, and so on. As devotees, we are practicing, we have to be very careful about what we want to acquire in our life, and what we want to accumulate, and what we want to possess. So all these are very important. If all the things that we try to accumulate and want to have and possess does not give us or allow us to come closer to Krishna, then we are in the wrong society. Yeah. Here we are not here to accumulate anything. We are only thinking of using everything in the service of Krishna. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhi. It's very important to understand. These are basic principles, but oftentimes we don't think about these basic principles. We want to know all the high philosophy, esoteric philosophy, how Krishna dances with the cowherd girls and stuff like that. But it's the basics that will allow us to understand the bigger picture. If you don't know the fundamentals, how can you actually build the building on top of the foundation, right? So in the same way, it is very important for us to understand. Jamadagni here is also a very powerful sage, but being a Brahmana, he acts in the capacity of welcoming the king and so on. So he takes the position, a humble position. But actually, in terms of the Varna ashram, the Brahmanas hold the higher position, and the Kshatriyas are supposed to be serving them. Yeah. And in fact, they are supposed to take counsel from the Brahmanas. Yeah. So administrative function is subservient to the Brahminical function. Spiritual life is like that. So we have to be very observant of how we behave also. Otherwise, whatever we do will only reflect on our bad qualities. And not only that, it enhances us to think that we are doing the right way. So it is important to always check with the scriptures and with the leaders, spiritual leaders and so on, to find out whether is this correct, am I doing it properly. So one should always have a guide. One cannot be on their own thinking, I know what is best for me, particularly in spiritual life. What to speak of material life, right? You still need guides. So it behooves each and every one of us to think in this way. What is the purpose I'm here in this International Society for Krishna Consciousness? And then having understood why I'm here, then you should then behave accordingly. Of course, each of us come with our baggage, right? We have our own baggage, our luggage and so on, right? So sometimes we bring too much of our baggages and sometimes we bring a little baggage. But in any case, the baggage is there. So we need to know that this baggage is going to cause problems, right? If you have 10 baggage and let's say you're going on a cruise, right? You have 10 baggage with you and then there are 100 people sitting around, do you think you will enjoy the cruise? Right? You're only thinking about the baggage and who's going to steal my baggage. Yeah. So again, it's very important in the practice as devotees. We call ourselves devotees, but actually we are all practicing devotees. We haven't attained the stage of calling ourselves devotees. But for all intent and purposes, we are devotees, and people out there are non-devotees or potential devotees. In Iskcon, the lingo is everyone out there are called karmis. But a karmi, actually, if you read the scripture, they are very high. They follow varnashram dharma. They worship Supreme Lord. Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. We can call them. That's nothing wrong because they don't know that they actually coming towards Krishna, or they may never in this life, but they will hopefully. Now, in terms of cow protection, this Srila Prabhupada writes this is for the third level. It's very interesting, right? He's the third level. Basically, the first level is Brahmanical culture. The second level is the administrative function. The third level is the mercantile and agricultural. Yeah. But interestingly, it is the mercantile and the agriculture which is the economical situation. And they drive the economy for all the others. And they provide the services for the last final class, who are the laborer class. Okay, so they hire them and then they give them and so on. And then they give in donation and charity to the first class, and then the second class, they do what? They tax. The administrative function is to tax, and then they get all the taxation they collect. But the purpose behind taxation is what? Srila Prabhupada writes in I think it's in the first canto, that the kings tax the subjects for a particular reason, so that in time of needs, when there's a famine, drought and so on, they will open their coffers and their granary and they supply back to the people so that they do not feel neglected. The role of the king is to protect and to guide them and to ensure that the common people follow the teachings of the Shastra that are explained by the Brahmanas. So they all function in a very cohesive manner. It's like what? It's very synergistic. Everything is very nicely working. If it doesn't, then you have all sorts of different problems that we see. And one of the problems we see nowadays, as Prabhupada explains, is that the cows are not cared for. Why the cows? Why not? There's so many different animals. Why the cows? Cows give milk. Okay, that's the fundamental point is cows give milk, because from milk you can make ghee, and ghee is used for yajna. Yeah, therefore it's very important. Cow is, and the other thing is, if you take the milk, it also gives you intelligence. Okay, the milk acts on the finer tissues of your brain cells. So there's the gross cell and the subtle aspect of the cell. Each cell in your body, they have both gross and subtle energies also. So the milk when it's taken after offering to Krishna, is very transformative. It affects your subtle brain tissues and allows you to therefore understand not logical but spiritual. One can be very logical, but logical is only up to a material level. Spiritual context, if you want to understand clearly, then you need to be able to refine that through the taking of milk. Of course, nowadays, because the cows are not treated properly, because they are given a lot of chemicals, antibiotics and so on, there's a movement that denies the consumption of milk, right? You can see very strongly. But that's something I think we are still pondering over. At least in Iskcon, there's two schools. One like, we are vegans, and the other one is, no, offer the milk to Krishna. In a discussion with Srila Prabhupada, my spiritual master was saying, when he asked Prabhupada what to do, the milk is all contaminated. And then he said, Prabhupada mentioned to him, actually in Kali Yuga, everything is contaminated. You cannot do much about it. So what to do, Prabhupada? Offer everything to Krishna. As far as possible, we offer grains, food stuff, like that. Yeah? Not meat and all those stuff, okay? Because Krishna won't accept those things. So Krishna is who? Krishna is Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha. Right? So therefore, already in that prayer to Krishna, we are glorifying Krishna as Brahmanya and Go. Yeah, he is a protector of the Brahmanas and the cows. And he shows that by adventing 5,000 years ago. He didn't take birth. Anyway, he took birth in the cell, in a prison cell. But then later on he said, I want to live a life as a cowherd boy. He can choose anything he wants, but he wanted to be a cowherd boy. That's all he wants to be, running around with the cows, playing with the cows. Even as a little baby, when he was hardly crawling, he and his brother would wallow in the cow dung, and then they'll grab the tails of the little calves, and as the calves would go, they will be skiing, like that. And if you think about it, the Supreme Person, he's doing that. Why? It's just, sometimes it's mind-boggling why he does that. But he wants to do that, to show us that to come to a certain platform of consciousness, you need to actually take care of cows. Cow protection is very important. If you take care of cows, your understanding of dharma becomes very sharp. Religiosity, everything becomes very clear. Because the cow allows you to develop your mode of goodness. So those who are in Krishna house, they are with the cows daily, so they can take association of the cows and develop their mode of goodness. And so it's important, we have to understand. The whole process, the Varna ashram is so scientific. And Srila Prabhupada said, the first qualification that Krishna says is he protects the Brahmanas and the cows. That's the first qualification. And then he says, Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Yeah? So it's very important, we need to understand these principles properly. And only then we find that the human civilization can make progress. If you don't protect the cows, in fact there's another discussion about Prabhupada says, if you really want to eat meat, then he says, eat the lesser animals, He says, eat the goat, eat the sheep, or eat some other animals, but don't eat cows, yeah. And in the Puranas it is said that if you eat the cow, then as many hairs on the cow there are, that many lifetimes you will have to take birth in the hellish planets. Okay, so doesn't matter, big piece or small piece, right? Yeah. So once you understand that and you say, no, I'm not taking any more, then it's fine. Then Krishna takes care of your past sinful life. But don't do it again. That's the whole idea. As soon as there is fall down or deviation from the Brahminical culture, as soon as you see that, there will be no more peace in the world. So you can see that, right? Every few years, or no, every year, no, every month actually, there is killing going on. Because why? So much animal slaughter is going on. The poor cows are slaughtered, and therefore this is called ugra karma. So if the country does the ugra karma, it is very pervasive. It goes down to each level, from the country to the cities, to the societies within the city, and then all the way down to the family unit and the individual. Everybody partakes of that, and they try to think, we are okay, it's just an animal, Yeah. But to say it's just an animal, I don't mind killing, means your heart is so hard. It becomes like a stone. And therefore you cannot see the piteous crying of the animals as they are dragged into the slaughterhouses. Very important for us to appreciate. Krishna actually tells in the 3rd chapter, Annad bhavanti bhutani. He said, just eat grains. Right? Are you not all satisfied with what we give? Right? Come on, man, in 1 week you had pizza twice. Huh? Where would you get that? Even the karmis don't eat that many pizzas. Huh? It's too much. So yeah, just simply have grains, And then if you go and protect the cows, In fact, the cow is so wonderful that Krishna, not only does he love them, they can parlay on your behalf, right? The cows can parlay on. The good example is, Yeah, Indra. He made a mess. A big mess, a big deluge in Vrindavan, and then after that he realized, I made a mess. So he couldn't do anything, so he ran to Brahma and said, oh, Brahma, I made a mess. So Brahma, guess what? Brahma has already made a bigger mess, right? So Brahma is like, yeah, I know what you mean. So then Brahma tells him, you know what? You go and talk to Surabhi and bring her along, push her in front. And when Krishna sees Surabhi, he'll be much more reluctant to get angry with you. He'll be nicer. Now, of course, Indra does go to Goloka, but this is not the same Goloka as Goloka in the spiritual world. Within this universe, there is a planet called Goloka, and in this planet, it's full of Surabhi cows, yeah. And this is the place where Jamadagni actually went to get his cow. So he went there and he begged Surabhi, who accompanies Indra, and said, will you please come? I'm doing yagna, I need you. And she said, no, but my sister can go. So her sister is Sushila. And so she comes and she is the cow for Jamadagni. Nice name, Sushila, yeah. Scripture says, oh, wonderful name. It's only we who don't know how to name our children. So Indra goes to Goloka, the material Goloka, and then he gets his cow, Surabhi, and then she comes and she parleys on behalf of Indra. Says, and once Krishna sees Surabhi, he becomes, his anger goes down a lot of notches. And then when Indra then offers his praise, he says, okay, get out. Actually, Krishna doesn't even look at Indra. He's like, he turns away, And Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhana Ki Jai, Shri Shri Tai Chaitanya Shri Shri Tai Gaura Chandra Ki Jai, Iskcon Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Yeah, so then after that, he allows Indra to be forgiven, and then Indra goes back learning, Oftentimes people say Indians are cow worshippers, but that's not the right understanding. It's wrong, They interpret it that way, but it's not that. It's actually the culture teaches the Indian, if you go to in India and so on, that they are actually very grateful to the species of cows, actually. That's the understanding. Prabhupada says that. He says the Indians are very grateful to the cows because by taking care of the cows and then taking the milk, they can enhance culture in society, enhance a better human species. That are what do you call that? They are so prosperous by taking care of cows, and they also can help others prosper, both materially and spiritually. In fact, having cows is considered opulent. And Prabhupada said you don't need to grow all these amounts of corn and all those maize all over the countries, and they are actually not grown for human consumption. Most of these grains are grown for what? Slaughterhouses, So Prabhupada said that if each house can have a cow, most of their needs are taken care of, like that. It's very interesting to understand when Srila Prabhupada gives the breakdown and everything. It's very interesting. And you can even use the cow's milk. In fact, they use cow's milk for the baby formula, right? But of course, nowadays the babies who are taking birth are different. They can't even take milk, right? They have to give chemical milk. So much so in China, they invent all this chemical milk, and in 1 year, like almost 10 years now, they came up with milk that was killing the babies. And they were making profit. And so when the government found out the manufacturers who were doing that, it was all plastic. So then the government executed all of them in China. So of course, people were losing the child. And in China it's only one child family. And if you have a child and the child gets killed, so in that sense they were correct to execute those guys. So simply for profiteering. So nonsense, So we should understand that. And then another reason Prabhupada gives is, cow is also like our mother. There are 7 mothers for all of us. What are they? First one is your actual mother, the birth mother. Second one is earth is Guru's wife, Brahman's wife, king's wife, nurse, and the last one is the cow. There are 7 mothers. So if you have that attitude, seeing all these personalities as your mother, then you'll be so much respectful. You'll be more cultured person. But the present society don't want those things. Systematically they break down the culture. Everywhere they go, they want to break down. They want to normalize sinful life. Right? You can do nonsense and they're like, oh, that's so cool. Let's do another nonsense thing. Right? People walk around with nothing and they say that's cool. Of course it's cool, you got nothing on. Right? So, but that's the culture nowadays. They're becoming more and more like animals. Yeah. So we should be very, very careful what we want to assimilate in society and what we shouldn't. We should be like the swan. Right? It said that when you pour milk in the water, the swan, even though the milk is mixed with the water, the swan has the ability of separating the milk from the water. So, as practicing devotees, we should be able to see what is good for us. And if you cannot, then you should inquire. Inquire with those who understand better. We are all in the path back to Godhead, but some will know better, others will know less, but we should cooperate and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, what do you think? All right, let's have a powwow, and then come up with some understanding. Yeah. Of course, when you have a powwow, don't smoke the pipe, yeah. Just have the powwow. Yeah. All right, so I think, let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, for government, protecting the lives of the people and the lives of the animals is the most important thing. They have to. If they don't, you cannot have one without the other. You cannot say, I only protect human beings and then I'll kill the animals. So what happens is, over a course of time, you will see differences in humans also. Right? Then you see, oh, you are American, you are Russian, you are my enemy. And then after that, within America, oh, you are white man, I am red man, you are yellow man, you are black man, right? That's what's happening, no? So you start seeing all this nonsense. Culturally, there's no culture anymore. It's just that you're seeing everyone as your enemy. Yeah, this is the way the asuras think. You read the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you'll see this is asura kula. And we don't want all these things. As Srila Prabhupada wanted us to save the world. So that means we see each and every one on the level of spirit soul. Yeah, you see that first. You see, that's the best way. And you can love anyone because you want to help them go back to Godhead. There's nothing here actually. So Prabhupada said, the material world is like the toilet. A gentleman will use it and get out. He does not stay inside. There are people who stay and read books and stuff like that, but we don't want to do those things, right? So I'm going to stop here because I think a lot of you have so many things to add to this cow protection and how it can be enhanced and so on. And Partha's raring to speak about Varnashram, so yeah. Give him the mic.
There's a secular institution called Savoy Institute where they buy a bunch of arid land, like desert land, thousands of acres, and they just herd cows over it. And I don't know the exact time frame, but I mean, in a measurable amount of time, they've done it many times. It's going on now. It turns into fertile land where you can grow stuff. Just by herding the cows, their hoof prints make indents in the earth, turns it up. Rain can get into the soil, their dung, their urine.
The dung, urine, yeah, that's right. Actually, Prabhupada mentions that. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing it. He said you don't need any fertilizers. Just have a cow. The urine and the cow dung will fertilize the land, you know. But modern scientists, what are they saying about that? The cow produces methane, yeah. And say it's bad for the country, it's bad for the ozone layer, the methane and all nonsense, you know. Huh?
Okay, we need cars. Cow dung not good, but cars are good.
Yeah, cars are good, yeah. Not cows. Cars can go around polluting, that's true. That's very valid, yeah. What a nonsense, right? Yeah. Actually, if you look at all the scientific studies, just as many scientists who say there is ozone layer is depleted because of the methane, there's just as many scientists who come out with papers saying it is not getting depleted. Who to believe? Right? Who to believe? Yeah. So much chaos out there, and yet so many people want to trust those things, no? Because there's so much chaos, we should be very careful to pick that which gives us, connects us back to Krishna. So we cannot adopt everything they say as correct, you know. You have to be very wise. If you are not so wise, look for someone who's wiser, right? And then get the guidance from them. It's important. Yes? No.
Well, I was just wondering about Prabhupada's statement about you can, I mean, not saying you should eat a lesser animal, but saying you shouldn't eat a cow. But I think you kind of elaborated
Explain
on that
why.
a little bit.
Yeah, because there are people who will want to eat and you
Right.
can't change their mind. So he says, eat lesser animals for such. But then they have to offer it to Kali,
Okay.
Goddess Kali, and say, in this life I eat you, next life you eat me. Ah!
Oh, there's
Yeah.
no win.
Yeah. So then hopefully they get some intelligence. Yogi? No. Something to say?
Yes, Prabhu, wonderful class. On the cow protection, of course, you shared some wonderful instruction. Now we see a lot of even senior devotees, doing vegan. Now that is because of health reasons, right? Where they
Yeah.
have very high regard, but
Yeah,
health
mostly
reasons.
for health reason, yeah. Because there's so much chemicals in the milk that becomes so hard to digest. So many devotees also are becoming vegan. Of course, when you're young, you can digest even steel, but too much digesting steel, your digestion will become weak. But we see all the senior devotees, even we all know we can't do many things that we used to do here. We could jump to the moon in a single bounce, but now we can't do all those things, yeah. So, yeah, it's not easy anymore. Life is difficult, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Raghava Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just apart from what we have discussed actually, thank you for the class. The comparison between Samantakamani being requested by Krishna so that it will be good for the kingdom. As a king, he was requesting that. And just in a parallel to this one where Kamadhenu is getting requested by Kartaviryaarchana. The only thing is he is forced to take that one, the difference between those two. Please can you show some more light on those two things that...
I didn't quite understand your question. Okay. I'm sorry, yeah.
So, Samantakamani, you're aware of the Samantakamani, right? Which was...
the Shamantaka jewel. Okay,
the money. So basically when Krishna hears about that, he goes to that the house and then he requests that one, that this would be good and benefit the kingdom rather than in your home.
Well, there he tells Satyajit, King Satyajit, he tells him that you are using it for your own thing, and then the best thing should always be offered to the king, Ugrasena. He doesn't ask for himself. And say, if you give it the king can use it for the whole country. And then he refuses, and then he goes on his own, and then eventually he gets killed because of the jewel. But here, the king was thinking in the same way, but he wasn't thinking like what Krishna was telling. Here he was thinking, this Brahmana don't deserve it, Brahmanas don't deserve it, I deserve it, without understanding the purpose behind the Kamadhenu cow. Right? The best of society are the Brahmanas, not the Kshatriyas. Okay? So even the king sometime, if you read the Bhagavatam, many times they do yagna and so on, they give everything back to the Brahmanas. But the Brahmanas don't need the wealth and material things. So what they do, they usually give it back to the king and say, you know how to deal with it. We don't need extra burden. Yeah. So that's the difference. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. From Shamantika to Shamanta.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, wonderful class. It reminds me that Krishna's another name is Govinda.
Yes.
Gam Vindati iti Govinda, because he likes cow, he gives pleasure to the cows. And recently I have gone through a documentary where they have the big farm and they have the cows, and they did the research that people who spending time with the cows, it gives them their health benefit also. Just by petting the cows, spending time with the cows, it lower their blood pressure, stress level. Now that farm becomes so big that corporate people come to relieve their stress management.
Yeah.
Just spend time with them, pet the cows.
So nice, no?
So nice, yeah.
Yeah. But people only want pets like a muskrat, right? A guinea pig, parrot, stuff like that, a dog, cat. So they feel having those things helps them with their stress level also. In some form, yes, but actually the best is to have the cow, actually, yeah. The cow brings you very quickly to the mode of goodness, yeah. The other animals may give you some solace and some relief, but it never raises your consciousness, rather it brings your consciousness down, yeah.
Recently I came to know that there is a scientist in Germany, he filed a patent that cow's urine has the maximum antiseptic properties, and he got the patent.
Now all cow urine belongs to him. It's kind of silly, patent everything. There's the scientists patenting the DNAs also. It's really ridiculous sometimes. Anyway, what can you do? We are all in this ridiculous world. We should get out of this ridiculous situation. Right? Any other comments? Varshana Rani, let Varshana Rani, and then after that, Partha.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. I just want to add a little bit what I seen with me when I'm growing a young girl. We have a cow in a house because my father is a farmer, and some people have no idea how they collect the cow dung and take it to the farm. So I just try to glimpse a little bit, because in a backyard, we have a big backyard, and they make some round deep hole over there, and then daily cow dung, they put it over there and collect that. And when the new crop season coming, they take the cow dung in the bullock cart and spread all over in the farm, and after that they start the new crop. So that's how they use the cow dung. And the cow dung, they use that before people don't have a tile and stones and in a house. They use the cow dung to spread in the house, and that summertime the cow dung floor is so cool because people don't have a fan or anything. So cow dung is cooling. And my mother told me one day, when we are small and young, when we cry or some stomachache or something, they make a liquefy the cow dung and they put all over the stomach and all that, and children become quiet, everything gets relief, relief. Yeah. So a lot of ways they use, and they make them drink the cow dung as like a medicine,
Yes.
And the urine, they use every auspicious day, they use the spray in the house, so that bring the auspicious thing and get negative things can go away.
Yeah.
So that's how they
Thank
use
you. That's so nice. Nice to hear.
And
You're so fortunate you grew up like that.
Yeah, use cow dung as a fire too, and they dry the cow dung.
That's right.
Make a patty and they make a fire.
Thank you. Partha?
Make one plug in for Varnashram before we go. I was thinking, Bhishma Dev said that the Brahmanas protect the inside and the Kshatriyas protect the outside. So together they make a very nice society.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. You wanted to add one more? Okay, this is the last one and then we can.
Yeah. About cow protection, Prabhu, our movement is focused on
Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamadu ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chanda Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Chanda ki Jai Iskcon Guru Vrinda ki Jai.
On the cow protection, as you mentioned in the scriptures, our movement and few other groups, they want to protect cows and take care of them, get milk. No, but we have the bigger society where there is more more slaughtering of cows happening than the cows being protected. So now we get impacted as devotees for the slaughterhouses being around we do get reactions for that also, because we are focused on cow protection, right? But we are not part of that. But as a bigger society, because the slaughtering happens,
I think to be silent about it, then we will get some reaction. But as long as we are vocal about it, then we are abstaining from, or we are condemning such action, so we will not get the. But to keep quiet and not do anything means we are part of the problem. Yeah. Okay. All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Imagine no pizza with cow, right? Cheese comes from cow.